Thanks, Marshall. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Q&A. My name is Gary Gurrow. I'll be hosting, and I believe Paul Higgins will be driving documentation for us. No big really announcements. I'm going to invite CDE to talk about Fall 1 a little bit, but no big announcements other than I just wanted to say that Fall 2 is underway, and we're hoping that everyone by the middle of this month will have their errors resolved. If they're related to issues we're working on, any known issues, and we have a few known issues for Fall 2, they'll be posted in the known issues if they aren't already. But other than that, we're hoping that all your errors will be done so that you'll have time to review the reports, because the deadline for Fall 2 is March 1st, and today's the last day of January, so that's a month away, and there is no amendment window for Fall 2. So, and we do see that a lot of folks are putting a lot of data. Also, just kind of remind everyone, the system does tend to slow down a little bit in Fall 2 because everyone is loading lots of data with all the course and student course information. So as usual, just be patient when you're working with the data in Calpads and uploading it and waiting. Other than that, one error is that I don't know that we've got this logged yet, but we're getting a few tickets on it. I just wanted to bring it because I seen a lot of these tickets. The 4.3 and 4.4 reports, the 4.4 report seems to be doubling the FTE for folks. So we're getting a lot of tickets on that. And then the 4.3 report seems to be bringing in data from last year along with this year's data. So if you're not experiencing that, great. But if you are, there should be a PM, or a known issue for that coming soon. Other than that, I'm going to ask Sean if she wants to talk about how Fall 1 went.
Thanks, Gary. So yes, welcome everyone to our Q&A for Wednesdays. Thank you, Gary, for the reminder, Fall 2, and then for Fall 1. Thank you to all LEAs. We had 100% completion. So for our Fall 1, so we commend you for your hard work and we thank you for it. And then we know you're already in progress for our Fall 2, so just keep working at it.
Awesome. And Martha, Angela, did you have anything to say about issues, known issues, or fixes?
No, just that we're up to date there from yesterday's release. And then, as you mentioned, there's a couple in the backlog that need to get logged for the active. I think there's probably 5 or so in there.
Okay, so those will be coming. So let's go ahead and get started. Top of the list, first question is from Doug at Hanford. Hey, Doug, how you doing? Q1, I have a couple of SCSE 0641 fatal 2 errors. I think that's the one on the NPS schools. I think that's a known issue. And Paul's going there right now. It is 6771. So I think that might be the answer to that question. Question 1 from Shelley. If my email address has changed.
Go back, Gary.
Sure.
He's asking, he knows it's an error, but it's M1's documented, but he's got a second part to that. Wanting to determine if it's incorrectly.
I'd have to look at the chart to see if adult schools, but I only saw MPS, I'm sorry.
I think I can help with that one. If I would go to the expected schools report. Is it called one dot something?
It is. Or something.
I thought it was 1.0A.
Yeah, that sounds right. Oh, a snapshot reports.
You're right. All right.
1.0A, and then go ahead and click on that, Paul, because you want to filter on Fall 2 courses under submission type.
On the left there you
go. Fall 2 course. And I'm guessing if you're logged in as ABC. Oh no, your state. If you wanted to pull up Hanford, so we could just in real time see Doug's. I think this report runs pretty quickly.
Union High.
It is quick.
And is there an adult school listed here? Hanford Adult. And fall 2 course column on the far right says N, not expected. So I believe when they fix this, Doug, that the NPS school, it'll fix for anybody that has any school that has an N in that column. It shouldn't be expecting course data for.
Great, thanks everyone. Okay, Q1 from Shelley. If my email address is changed from .k12.ca.us to .org, is it required that I create a new account, or can I continue using my existing account? I receive emails for both addresses at the same mailbox. Sean says, since you're able to receive communications, this is a local decision.
At some point, they're going to not continue to send it to the old address. So, you know, the sooner you bite the bullet and resubmit the application and get everything going to your new one, I think that's the way to go, and have us update your LEA contact info.
I agree with you 100%, Mark. I was typing the second part of it, and I was saying that you need to see with your IT when it's going to be disabled, because yes, at some point in time, your internal IT department is going to cut that off just for like security purposes, so they don't have like a backdoor entrance or something. Yeah, so eventually you'll still need to change it over though, because they basically sounds like they've moved your hosting site over.
Although she did
Web
respond
domain.
that they're not going to change it until within the next 10 years, and she hopes to be retired before then. So
that's your risk still too.
That's your risk.
Yeah.
Q1 from Laura. We have the hardest time getting students to respond to the PS CTE survey this year for some reason. We have sent emails with a Google survey attached to their personal emails and made phone calls. Any additional ideas on the best way to get this information?
You can either pay a service to be able to track your students, or social media is always a helpful tool, just in case, you know, if they've moved or something. But then also internal connections. Who knows the student? Where are they? And it also depends on how many you have, though, Laura. I don't know how big your LEA is, how many you're talking.
And is there anybody else on the call that does anything differently? Sean's had experience. Did you guys actually pay, Sean?
Yeah, we paid. That was a must for me. I paid. I made sure that I captured personal email addresses, not just their LEA email addresses before they exited 12th grade. Any like parent information that needed to be updated, that information as well. So if we had to, we eventually had to make like real live phone calls instead of just, you know, sending out the survey. So yes, doing those surveys over the phone. We did those. We asked them those 5 questions and just read them over the phone.
And you do have the option that, you know, you can say that you sent the survey, but you got no response, right?
Yes, that is. That's very much an option as well, too.
All right.
We tried to exhaust all of our options though before we were able to mark that one though.
Okay, next question from Crystal. Are there plans for Calpads to make historical data reports available from before the redesign? And actually, I think you're talking about the older SPED reports. You can see those, but you have to go a different path to get to them. If you go into the certification screen, you can select the previous years, and then when you go down to the report section, you'll see the older reports are still there.
My gosh, thank you, because we were just talking about this today. So Joe and Milo, if you're on this call, certification status screen is where they can see their old reports. Thanks, Gary.
Crystal's at a SELPA though, so it looks a little bit different. If you want to navigate, Paul, to the SELPA screen, you just have to change the academic year before you click search.
There you go. So if you want to see the older reports before the redesign, you'd select academic year, older years.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. And there you see down there below is the older reports. Okay, Q1 from Rebecca. In regards to identifying whether a student is considered to be an immigrant status, is the United States minor outlying islands considered to be part of the United States?
In the code set, it'll tell you that. I'm not
It's
sure about
anything,
that one.
anything other than the United States or Puerto Rico. Anything other than United States or Puerto Rico is considered an eligible immigrant.
There you go. Thanks, Brandy.
Thank you.
Q1 from Elsa, issue 6764, report 4.3 FTE percent double. When is this expected to be fixed? So we had that fixed once, but it didn't fix it. It was still broken, so it's back with them again. Not sure when it's slated. It's a high level, so hopefully fixed in the next update, maybe. I'm not sure where it is as far as being resolved yet or not. Q1 from Susan. If I submit a course missing a few classes to fix it, do I need to submit a new file with all the classes or just a new course with the missing classes? So you have to be careful with that because it's full replacement on certain fields. If you submit all your classes and then you have one or two that you want to submit, you can always add those in online maintenance. You're okay doing it that way. But if there is some overlap with some of the key fields, it could replace a lot of your courses that you already have there. So you have to be careful with that. Q1 from Eva. Any updates on when the ODS Stella extract shenanigans will be cleared up? I still see it as an active issue. It's been an active issue for a while now. I'm not sure what the holdup is on that, getting that cleared up. Anyone else have any updates on when that might be?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a twisty issue. It should be working fine right now. The reason it's still, I got to figure something out with that. The reason it's still showing as a known issue, we actually have 2 strands of extracts available. We're running now. The legacy, which you guys are familiar with, which takes the overnight processing to get updated. They're trying to push out a new version, which updates in real time. And they did that for several files, and a lot of them had problems. And so we just said, stop, put all the legacy stuff back until you figure out all these other issues. So what's in there now should be working. The bug is on the new version of the Stella ODS extract. So what you see in production right now should be working. And I'll see if I can figure out something how to make that clearer on the known issues.
And as Angela said, the older one is the one where you have to wait till the next day. We've gotten a few tickets where folks are saying the students aren't on there yet, and it's because they just added the student. You have to wait overnight for that extract to be updated until the new ones get out here. Q1 from Terry. Is everyone having trouble trying to run the 2.4 report?
I had trouble with that one yesterday during the day, and then around 4:45 I tried it, and it ran within like a minute. So if others have any anecdotes.
I know I had a problem with the 3.7 report on Friday, and now it's working. So it just never showed up. And then I'm not sure what's going on in the processing or the background, but if it doesn't work, try an hour or so later. Rebecca says, wow, 100% of the LA is completed for fall one. That's amazing. Yeah, it was awesome. Q1 from Mia. Is there a place in Calpads where we can view which SEDS an LA uses? Not in Calpads.
Brandy, is that posted anywhere?
No, as far as I know, it isn't. I think maybe if we needed to, we probably could if you want to submit a service ticket and we can discuss it internally, because there's questions like where would it go? Where would we put that sort of thing? So it's something we can certainly discuss.
Potentially, we could add it to the LEA contacts on the CSIS page.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's a great idea. But let's start with the service ticket.
Okay. Q1 from Chrissy. We were told problem 6769 was scheduled to be fixed on yesterday. Will it possibly go in the next fix?
That's your favorite, Gary. Cert 48 and 84.
Oh, that's the one I have a pet peeve with. Yeah, I hope so. Right now, it's been going back and forth between the developer that's working on it and the requirements team about the logic for the error. It has to do with the employment end dates for a lot of these. I shouldn't say all of them, but for a lot of the ones we're seeing, it's if there's an employment end date added and also an exit date or the record exit date and end date is added, then Calpads automatically creates a new SDEM record, SDM staff demographics record, and then Calpads says, "Hey, you don't have an employment end date on this record." But what we're seeing is even if you put an end date on that new record without an effective end date, it's still giving the error. So that's why it's a bug right now. So more to be determined on this, but hopefully they could get it fixed fast because we have quite a few tickets with these errors. Q1 from Sonowan. I have fall 2 Cert 51 and 53 warnings, but it doesn't tell me who the staff is. You might want to wait till a new revision.
No. Yeah, Paul, if you could go to the user manual, both of those are happening when there are no staff to report. So there are no seeds for us. That saying 53 is you didn't report any teachers share, and 51 is you didn't report any pupil services.
Oh, so real warning. So those are, in that case, you would take those as informational. If you don't have those staff, then ignore the warning. But if you're supposed to have staff, then don't ignore the warning and get that data uploaded.
Yeah, I could buy maybe not having pupil services, but I'm pretty sure you probably have some teachers. So maybe you haven't submitted your staff assignment file yet.
All right, Q1 from Suan. Hey, Suan, what is an example of a job assignment where you would use the non-classroom based or support assignment of 60/20? Well, let's look up 60/20.
It's other, and
Other.
honestly, you should never use it. I mean, the only time that we ever really wanted you to use that is when you've exhausted every other non-classroom based or support assignment code. And we've done what we've tried to do is fill some of the gaps. So we did see them. So we did see them for like teachers on special assignment. You guys used to use 60/20 a lot. We also saw people using 60/20 for their itinerant pull-out and push-in teachers, which is not appropriate, right? So the only time that you should ever use 60/20 is when a person is in a non-instructional assignment and you can't use any of the other codes. That's really the only time. And even then, you should submit a ticket saying, hey, I can't find a code for this. What should I use? Because that may give us some insight into whether or not we need to create a new one.
Okay. Question 1 from Elena.
Hold on 1 second, Gary.
Oh, sure.
When you submit that ticket, if you can please make sure that you reviewed with your credential analyst, and then also don't just go based upon what their job title is. Brandy's stressed on this in many trainings. Don't just go on what the job title is, and actually read that job description. And what does that job description at your local LEA best match up to within the descriptions within Calpads? Thank you.
Sean.
Sorry, Gary.
Oh, that's okay. More information, the better. Question one from Elena. We have misassignment errors for college professors, seeds with the 10-9s that we actually reported correctly to Calpads last year. Is there something else that we could do that we could be missing? I think by default, you'll get misassignment errors when you're using the 10 seeds. Is that right, Brandy?
Well, so let me be clear, is that they're not always misassignments. The problem is that when you're using a seed of all 9s, you're not providing CalSAS enough information to determine whether or not the person that's in that assignment is appropriately assigned. And so what they do when you send over a seed of all 9s is they automatically drop it in this bucket called predetermined vacancies. Vacancies end up as misassignments. Okay. So we talked about this in the assignment monitoring training. You guys make sure your monitoring authorities, or at the LEA level, you're actually going in and giving your monitoring authority the actual seed for those individuals. Now, in this case, you have these individuals are college professors, which means they don't have seeds. So there's two things that they could have done. Number one, your monitoring authority can go in there and make the determination of LAO 76004, which is basically a blanket local assignment option that you can say, this person is authorized under 76004, which basically authorizes, dual enrollment courses. So yeah, but you have to do that in your predetermined vacancies, especially when the instructional level code is dual credit 24. So if it's 24, they're expecting that person to have the appropriate authorization. In this case, it's a college professor, but your MAs need to go in and make the determination of LAO 76004. And you can also preempt that by populating that local assignment option in your student information system for that course section.
All right. Question from Jeannie. I'm so sorry I came in late. Were there any announcements? Or if anyone in the chat can answer here, that would be helpful. So the CISA team can just skip over. Basically, we were just thanking everyone for getting fall 1 done, and we're neck deep in fall 2. Question 1 from Lisa. I'm having difficulty finding the proper code for AP Physics 1. I'm trying to code 9345, and I get that it is an invalid code for APIB courses. I think there's specific codes for those in the code sets document. But, oh, check the code set. You might want to put a ticket in and we might be able to look that up for you.
Give me I'll answer in the chat, Paul. I'm checking the code set.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Q1 from Catherine. Is there a way to pull updated direct cert information more often than monthly? I think it's only available after the 2nd week every month.
We only do the matches once a month.
Yeah.
But just keep in mind that that list is updated every time you update enrollments. So even though the match is already done, if you've got kids that are coming into your LEA and they're transferring from other LEAs where they were already direct certified, you'll get results for those students. It's only brand new students that have never been in California that won't appear on the list. So you can get, I won't say an updated list, but based on the last date they pulled benefits information for any new kids that enter your LEA at any point during the month, you can pull that list. And if you've entered enrollments and the kid has DC results from another LEA, you're going to see them there. So the list does change.
Good to know. Okay. From Terry, Q1, we are having issues with the SSID extract from Calpads 2 areas. Once the SSID is created, Calpads is not including the new SSIDs in the extract file. Calpads to areas. Does this remain an issue? Suan wrote, I found a solution. Do the extract by SSID by date range created. Select the current date and then choose the next day date.
Yeah, I've also pretty much sworn off the create by tab for requesting that SSID extract. It's not very helpful. It only includes the SSIDs that were brand new on that date that you entered. So pretty much rely exclusively on the enrollment date range tab.
Yeah, that's all I use. Q1 from Yadira, course 640 F2. I have one SSID with the following error on 3 student courses, but I have checked those courses and they're strictly special ed courses with no general ed students.
I'm sorry, Gary, say that one more time.
This is Yadira is getting the error, the 640 error, because it sounds like she has the which is the error for having a general ed student in a course that's marked with the 700 special ed, which should only have special ed students in it. But she says she's checked that and she doesn't have any general ed students. So this may be one we need a ticket for, so we can, well,
Yeah.
we wouldn't know. Well, yeah, we would need a ticket. To make sure that
and Suan's pointing out that you need to check the meet record because it's looking at whether or not the student has any meetings in there that indicate that they might be going through an evaluation. So, but yeah,
yeah. So as of Census Day, Brandy, if they have any meetings on 10/4.
Right. So as of Census Day, did they have any meeting records? Any? At all, and if they don't, it's going to trigger this error. So that's probably what's happening here.
Yeah, Paul, can you pull it up in the user manual? No, the CRSE
yeah.
0640 F2. And it should be on that suggest resolution. So it's validating the instructional strategy and the meet data.
Yeah.
So start there, and if you still are stuck, put in a ticket and we will give you a hand.
Okay, Q1 from Larney. We have a student with disabilities who is 19 years old. He left one of our high schools last year, but is back this year receiving services. He is, however, enrolled in our adult school. We will be sending enrollment, but it is going to be enrollment under our district with the enrollment code of 50. Also, his SPED records are still in the old Calpads SPED system from last year. Since he wasn't migrated to the new system, should we then send a batch file or online maintenance for his students with disabilities as eligible and participating and a plan? Would we use the same plans from last year and same services as last year?
So first thing is the student would not be status 50. This student would be primary enrollment 10. Okay, enrollment status 50. If you guys watched my creating and maintaining SSIDs for students with disabilities webinar and downloaded the PowerPoint, you'll see that the only time you're using 50 is for private school students and for infants 0 to 35 months. Okay, so you're going to use a primary enrollment status. And yes, because that student exited last year, that's the reason his records were not created for the current year. So you could submit a status effective the date that he came back to the district for transition services. So the status would be eligible and participating as of that date. And then whatever the student's most current IEP, if there are no plan records in there for the student, you could submit the student's most current IEP. Very likely you will have to, unless the plan has been amended, you'll likely have to just do this in online maintenance because most of the SPED systems will not send up historical transactions.
Right. Q1 from Kirsten, as a first-time Fall 2 reporter at a COE, should I make it concerned that there aren't any PSTS files? If you've had high schoolers that have left, yes, you should. I would expect at least some. And
So
Is
that,
it fall
yeah.
two only for career
Yeah.
tech? So you wouldn't necessarily have a career tech completer at a COE.
So, and they also had to be completers, and oftentimes, it county offices of education don't have them long enough so that they complete pathways. So, I would just confirm that you didn't have any pathway completers. That's all. In the prior year.
And thank you, Angela, for putting that in the chat.
yes.
User manual to the rescue there.
Q1 from Claudia. I have a teacher starting on October 4th, which was Census Day. This teacher has records for my and the previous district. Will she be counted for both, or do I need to contact the other district to terminate their demo records? So if the demographics records is dated October 4th, that's the one that Calpads should be looking at. So the previous school is out of the loop.
But if the previous school never put in an employment end date,
They'll get other errors saying you don't have any staff assignments or courses for that teacher.
Yeah, so they'll have to fix their
so
side.
eventually it'll get fixed by the other LEA.
Q1 from Mariana. For the push-in, pull-out teachers, what should their code be, and do they need a course section?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So their code should be a 27 and itinerant pull in, push out teacher. Do they need a code section? Yes, it's a requirement. I don't know which area you get, but now you get one of them or multiple.
And what's also important about itinerant teachers is they can teach anything.
Yes.
Right? They could be
They can do music.
Yeah, RSP teachers. They have a specific code 9231. Also, they could be providing English support or math support or RTI or MTSS, response to intervention, or multi-tiered systems of support courses. We have course codes for all of those. So you would just need to select the relevant code. Even reading, right? You could be providing reading in a pull-out or push-in fashion.
And that answers, there's not just the reading courses, but there are language courses. So if that leads into another question, most times if a teacher doesn't have an actual CLAD, is that student still receiving services through another modality? And those still need to be reported. Yes. They're reported this way.
All right, and lots of comments and responses on that question.
My chat is, I don't even know anywhere. So yeah.
Oh no. Question one from Camilla. What is the proper non-classroom assignment code for a teacher coach? No sections assigned.
It could be a BITSA. It depends on what that job description says. I would submit that. I would actually review what that what your LEA's job description says for that teacher, and then see what it is that they're actually teaching and how best that's going to match to the code set. I would loop in your credential analyst for sure.
And I think the non-classroom based support assignment codes have a peer mentor code. So take a look at the definition of the peer mentor, because that's probably what it is. We retired the BITSA code.
Oops, sorry. Thanks,
No,
Brandy.
it's okay. It's okay. No problem.
All right.
This is why she's like sprinkles on top.
Q1 from Ethan. I think it's confusing that the guidance for vacancies, no permanent hire for the course, is to report the seed and info of our short or long-term sub while reporting all nines as per Brandy, drops the classes automatically into the predetermined vacancy bucket in CalSAS. It's often difficult to get the seed and demo data for subs placed by outside agencies, and we end up reporting all nines. But if the goal is to have it show up in CalSAS as a vacancy, since that's what it was, wouldn't it be easier to just report the nines than to try to get the subs info?
You know, that it's your choice. One is in the instance where you actually have a short or long-term sub that's actually authorized in the subject area, you know, which may not result in a misassignment versus just reporting a seat of all nines, which will always end up as a misassignment, always. So it's a local preference. If you don't want to go through the effort to find the seat of the substitute, just know that's always going to be a misassignment. Whereas if you had a retired teacher that still had an active multiple subject credential come in and substitute on that day, it's very likely that it would not generate any sort of exception if they had the appropriate credential. Just saying.
Hey. At 3:29, Marshall posted the training from the CSIS training YouTube channel, the Calpads Fall 2 for Assignment Monitoring playlist video.
Ethan had a comment
Ethan had a comment.
where he was saying he had to confess he never sees the Cal side of things for himself. You may not necessarily see the CalSAS report, Ethan, but you should be getting questions on it. And if so, or if not, I would recommend that RACI document really strongly then, because there needs to be that team collaboration to ensure that things are getting corrected, you know, accurately. What's that back and forth process look like?
Thanks, Sean. Question 1 from Yesenia. What assignment should be used for itinerant teachers that teach physical education to all students school-wide at the elementary school? And Natasha says they don't need a non-classroom based job code, just a PE course section. And if you're using the itinerant teacher assignment, you don't have to put students, you don't have to put all those students in those PE classes in that course. You just create the course section.
That's correct, especially if it's at an elementary course. Yes, report the teacher as itinerant 27, and then report the PE course itself. Unless everything is departmentalized, right, Randy?
Right. So you definitely want to report teachers that are teaching departmentalized elementary school courses with a course section. Never, I repeat, never use a non-classroom based assignment code of 6020 or TOSA for a teacher that's providing departmentalized content at an elementary level. Okay. The reason this is important is because that particular assignment, in this case PE, that educator is evaluated in CalSAS against that content area, a departmentalized content area, which means that teacher is not authorized if they have a multiple subject credential. They would only be authorized with a single subject authorization in PE. So that's why it's important that you create departmentalized course sections for those teachers that are providing one area of content to multiple groups of students throughout the day.
All right, and that was the last Q1, so I'm going to circle back and go through the Q2s. And we had a few. Question 2 from Elena. There are some dual enrollment college courses taught by the college staff, and we have been reporting them as Calpads suggests to report college and CTE courses. However, the students completing this college pathway are not being counted as CTE completers, mainly because the course is not mapped to a CTE capstone course. Our secondary ed CTE director wants us to report CTE completers under this pathway. Can this be done? If so, what's the best way to accomplish this? Do you foresee this shift affecting our CCIs?
That was too long. What time step we at?
I'm sorry, it's at 3:02, almost right at the beginning.
Okay, I got into that. I was like, oh, I was like, I think I got lost in the second sentence.
There's a lot there.
Yes. um, so if you don't have a capstone course, so you're saying you don't, Elena, you're saying you don't have two courses, or at least two courses, you're only having one? I thought I saw courses plural.
Not mapped to a capstone course.
Is the correct thing here to use the CT course code applied instructional level college? It may be, Ethan, to do so. I think we need information. Brandy says yes. There we go. Brandy says yes.
Yeah, I mean, the key here is that if a college course is part of your CTE pathway, and in order to be a completer in that pathway, you need to include that college course. You need to code it as a CTE course and not the college credit course. A lot of folks are concerned about that because they're like, well, we want to get credit for our college courses. But here's the reality of it. And we've said it many times as well. And this is guidance that's also in the dashboard technical guide. But for college credit courses, one course can only count for one of the measures, which means that if I am a CTE completer and that college course is part of my pathway, and I use that college course to complete the pathway, I can't also get the college credit for the college credit measure for that one course. The student actually has to earn college credit in another course in order to be counted as prepared. Okay, so in this case, the best advice is from Ethan, which is use the CTE course and then tell us separately in the instructional level that it's a dual credit or college credit course. And Rebecca to the rescue.
Yes.
Good job.
Documentation. Okay, next Q2 is at 3:14 from Catherine. I'm sorry if I missed this. I'm looking for an update on current known issues 6021 and 6022 for the IVR 34. And is there a workaround for this now? 6021. Well, that one's an older one.
You can search in the box at the top.
Oh, it's not listed. Oh, there's 22 though. No, there it is.
We are 34. That's really old. There's a workaround there. It says try to re-upload the same SCNR file, but I haven't seen that one in a long time. It makes me wonder if that's a valid error for you. You might want to open up the file that you're trying to upload and see if there are duplicate SSIDs in there.
Okay.
And if you do need to put in a ticket, level one's going to want to just link it to that because it's already on the known issues.
Yeah.
If you just so say in there, Angela told me to put in a ticket, please assign to her.
Good point. At 3:21, a Q2 from Suan. Why is there no AP chemistry course code?
It's due to credentialing. No, I take that back. Sorry, that's chemistry. I was thinking physics. Never mind.
So I know that we regularly get messages from the College Board indicating that they have new exams available. So essentially, we're getting our information from College Board when we add courses or need to change courses. I don't have the code set open, so I don't
I have
necessarily.
it, and the code, there is a code for AP chemistry. It's 9349.
Oh, there you go.
Huh,
Thanks.
we do have.
Welcome, no problem. Teamwork, Brandy.
Yeah, right? Love that.
Okay, next Q2 is at 3:39. Could you please repeat? Oh, repeat. Repeat the state code for teachers in MTSS and others. And Sue-Ann posted 4 codes, so I'm not sure what MTSS is.
It's a multi-tiered systems of support. It's a specific code that we've got. I think it's RTI MTSS. It might be the same code.
Oh, and Sue-Ann saved the day. She's showing 9230 with that code.
There we go. And Claudia, the other like support codes, English support, math support, you would need to look under the sets of course codes. Like for example, math support is going to be within the math code series. English support is going to be within the English support course code series. And folks, within the code set document, like seriously, just clicking Control Find and typing in the keyword is usually the easiest way to find those codes, or even searching the description definition field. That's also a really good way if you're using keywords to find out if we have a course code set for it.
It is how we wonder. It is how we
Right.
navigate through the code set, the CFS, the valid code combinations, and including the FAQs on a regular.
And Paul was going through it right now, and he did something too that we recommend is go to the end date and make sure you select NA so you don't get codes that have been retired. With the NA, you'll get the current codes. Q2 from Larney at 3:44. Can I get clarification on the full replacement logic? I know that it will only replace if the primary keys are not matching. So if the primary key school code and the SSID are the same, it will not be replaced. If they are different, then that record will be replaced. If my understanding is correct, what if we are sending a record, for example, an SCSE with a matching school code and an SSID with the school terms and or C or section IDs are different from the one that's already in Calpads? This is because they were incorrect. Does this mean it will not be replaced? Instead, it will be added to the current record as an additional record. These, I'm not trying to figure out how I can. So that you're right. The operational keys are the big part of it. I'm not sure I can come up with a good explanation, folks.
Okay.
Without confusing people.
Okay. Different records. I'm trying to get this one. Gary and Paul, thank you, because I have that document that the document that Paul is on for the SSID. I am directly working on it, and I believe that I covered this in the new logic, but I'm not really sure. And Brandy, let me know if I did and I gotta add something.
And I'm still reviewing it here. So
oh yeah, it was
long. But you know what? Kudos to Sean, because you guys all know how long it's been since this document has been updated. And she got through the first draft. So we are super happy about that.
Hey, Paul, if you go to like section,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say if Paul can go to section 3, 3.9 is the course file. I think that's in question. The file formats are in section 3, and the operational keys will dictate what gets changed. So rather than a hypothetical, if you submit a course file, 3.9.4 is shows you the primary key and the operational key. The operational key is what's important when you talk about full replacement. And so if you're submitting course records, and any record that matches school course delivery, academic year ID, and academic term code is going to be replaced. So you have other data like course section IDs and local course IDs that don't matter. If you have records that have school of course delivery, academic year ID, and academic term code in Calpads, and you submit a file with these matching 3 fields, those records are going to be replaced. So you can see that just these 3 fields are going to be a lot of records. The biggest differentiator would probably be the academic term code. And so that's what you're going to be looking for full replacement files.
So Nate, could you say it another way? Let's say that the first time that you uploaded, you have 50 records at this one school, right?
Yes.
And now your next file only has 10 records for that school. What happens?
They're going to be most likely replaced, but it will break down to the academic term code. So if those 50 records were for semester 1 and being it's fall 2 and not end of year, most likely you're going to be doing semester 1 courses. You're going to replace all 50 records that exist in Calpads from your first upload with the 10 you just submitted. So if you're wanting to do some kind of partition of your uploads, it might be best to do it by school of course delivery. So submitting your course records by school, but a complete set of those records every time you upload. But
Also,
go
ahead.
Go ahead, Karen.
Also, if I may add, if you're trying to submit an updated CRSE with a different term code, so from S1 you made a mistake in trying to put an FY, that won't overwrite the existing record.
Yeah, that one you'll need to delete then, and then you'll need to delete the S1 in Kyron's example, and then put up the new record, just brand new, with the correction that you've made.
And I just want to point out again that the operational keys for every file type in Calpads are in the Calpads file specification words document. We don't often reference this, but this tells you how Calpads processes the different file types. So it's a good resource that we don't often point to.
Agreed. Those are more like the business rules, everyone.
Thank you, Nate, for explaining that. I couldn't come up with that explanation on the fly when I'm under stress, but you did a great job. Thank you.
Nate and Brandy are earning their badges today.
Next Q2 from Lisa. Q2, would a college course be considered highly qualified for CTE? CTE has to be highly qualified, has to have an instructor that is credentialed to be CTE teacher or to teach the course. I believe that's what that is.
Yeah, they have to have a CTE designated subject's credential to be, or to be determined to be considered a high quality CTE course and fundable through the CTE incentive grant and Perkins.
Just a side note, Angela, we may want to put that in the FAQ. I've seen a few on that. I've answered a few tickets on that.
Okay, Q2 from Shelley. We have been coding district program specialist as 6020. Can you give me your best guess on now how they should be coded?
Didn't we answer that one?
District specialist? Well, what does that mean?
Oh, I think I responded. I asked if they were a coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you responded.
I needed to know what it was too.
Yeah, you're right. We do have program coordinator codes.
But then I didn't see a response because I was trying. My chat is all over the place because then I was sending Brandy something.
Yeah, she didn't respond to your. Are they
okay,
more of a
thank
coordinator?
you. Yeah. So yeah, it depends on if they're more. What does that program specialist actually mean at your LEA? If they're a coordinator, that job description, then you should classify them more as a coordinator. If they are a TOSA, then you should more classify them as a TOSA.
And actually, I scrolled down and I did see she did respond. I'm sorry about that, Shelley.
Oh,
She
sorry.
says, I'm not really sure. I do know that they are in special education department. They have been used as a teacher in the last few years after COVID when we had massive shortage of teachers. I know I need to ask in my LA, but I was hoping to get a starting point here. Maybe we should have been pupil services after all, or not have been pupil services after all.
So
That was
the
her
only thing
response.
that I will say about this, about the district program coordinator, and there's a site level program coordinator as well. Just keep in mind, Shelley, that if you use that district program coordinator, they need an admin credential. They have to have an admin credential. Site level coordinators are for those personnel that are program coordinators at the school site that are running programs at the school site. So it really depends on what this person is actually doing. And so they're not at the site, they're at the district level. So I wouldn't use program coordinator. What would be helpful is to review their duty statement to see exactly what they're actually doing. And then work with your credential analyst to see what credential would typically be required for those duties. And then pick the code associated with that. Not the credential that the person has, but the credential that would be required for the duties outlined in that person's duty statement.
Okay, she's got it. Thank you. Q3 from Larnie. Follow up to my Q1. Brandy, if we enter code 10 for the district enrollment of students with disabilities, will attendance recorded be will the attendance record be expected to be reported?
You can exempt those students from attendance reporting. You do have to submit a staff's record for them, but you can exempt them from reporting. But what you will notice is that if they were enrolled on census day, it's going to require a course record. And so if they have primary enrollments, and what we've traditionally given as guidance in that area is that you choose the life skills code for those specific individuals. Also, a side note, I met with the adult education office last week, and they have specific codes that they use typically for adult age students with disabilities that are in transition programs at adult ed programs. And they have a list of courses. And so I've asked them to provide those. And it's possible that next year we might have additional codes for those adult age students with disabilities that you could potentially use for fall 2 reporting.
Okay. Sue-Ann has a Q2 follow-up. Sorry, she meant pre-AP chemistry, not AP chemistry. So I guess there's no code for pre-AP chemistry.
I don't believe there's a pre-AP chemistry test. So therefore it wouldn't be for AP classes, and I thought Brandy mentioned this earlier, but I could have been wrong, that we have tests that follow through with the curriculum for those, and the College Board sends those over to us once that test has been, or I think the year before that test is being launched. And that's typically when we add it into the code set then.
Yeah, you're right. So it depends on, if the pre-AP chemistry class is in a pilot phase, then we don't add it to the state course code set until they actually have an exam for it. So she's right.
Then would a pre-AP just be regular chemistry?
Yeah, they could list it as chemistry because it's just a pilot course at that point, assuming that it's a pilot course. Now, it's always possible that they have an exam for it and they didn't notify us about it. So if that's the case, then we would just need confirmation from College Board to add the course. And then we could add it in the next reporting cycle.
Hey, Q2 from Liliana. If we have an elementary teacher who is teaching art or music band school-wide, what job classification an assignment would be appropriate for them. That would be in the itinerant push and pull out code 27. And then you add the course, what the course that they're doing, but you don't have to put students in those courses. Okay, Doug Hawkins says, well said, Nathan. Q3 from Claudia. Just to be clear, for the following state codes, I can create a section for my TOSA without student enrollment. And she has a whole list of state codes there. As long as they have the itinerant job assignment of 27.
I mean, you can use any state course code. That's the reality of it. It's just not it's not limited to those. Like literally, if anybody is doing pull out, push in, or itinerant instruction in a course, as long as you have job classification code 27, you don't have to have a student roster associated with it.
Okay.
Correct. I think Joanne followed up and said too.
Q1 from Yolanda. Can I receive the registration link for Calpads special ed office hours that are on Mondays? And right under there, Milo put the registration link. I do want to mention it's not every Monday anymore. It's I think it's every other Monday.
Yeah, we are having one next Monday. And it'll be every other Monday up until end of year submission starts. And then we'll go back to every week. So thank you, Milo, for posting that.
Okay, it is after 4 o'clock. There's just a few more questions, so we'll just touch those and then we'll be done for the day. Stephanie says, did I get her Q1 at 3:47? I'm sorry if I missed it.
Me too.
Oh, I don't, the screen must have flipped up on me. I'm sorry, because I see it now. Q1, we are having an issue with the 640 errors flip-flopping from 4 to 104 errors. One day it shows 4, the next day it's 104. This morning it was 104, now it's 4 again. We know we have errors, but we have not touched them yet. I have a ticket in both DD and certification validation screen shows 4 now.
I will look at your ticket number, Stephanie. Actually, no.
Sounds familiar.
Can
I may
somebody
actually
else look at this ticket number? But I would say, what files is she submitting? I know she said she hasn't touched the errors yet, but if you're continuing to like delete or send up batch files, then that could very well be why you're flip-flopping.
That was going to be exactly my point, Sean, was that, I think that the starting point here is to look and see what files you're uploading that are being included in these new revisions. Because if you're uploading new CRSE data and there's any overlap, like Gary described earlier or Nathan described earlier, you're going to be overwriting data. And then if you're uploading SC data, again, it's full replacement on those primary keys. So if you're eliminating, replacing data back and forth, you're going to see those numbers fluctuating based on who's in those courses.
I like the great job, Paul. I like the 4 number for any LEA though best. Versus 104.
Okay. At 402, Swan posted a Q3. What tests are you referring to? And I'm sorry, I don't remember what question that refers to.
Sadly, me either.
What was the question again?
She just wrote, what tests are you referring to? And I'm not at 402, but I'm not.
The AP test.
Yeah, the AP exams.
Oh,
It's
thank
for
you.
pre-chemistry. Oh, okay.
AP
Thanks, Martha. We were all lost. We were like, what?
Hey.
Thank you, Rebecca. you guys tell it's Wednesday?
Yep.
It's only Wednesday?
It's
What?
only Wednesday.
I think that is all the questions, unless if I missed one, because it keeps scrolling up, but I think I've got them all now. So with that, we're gonna say, oh wait, Ethan said he snuck in one at 4:06, a Q2. I have a Q2. Does the status field on the SDEM drive anything anywhere? Tenured versus probationary versus other, etc. Nothing in CalSAS, right?
No,
Correct.
it does. Wait, I
It
thought it
does?
does.
It, I don't,
Tenured.
go ahead.
I thought, no, clarify me if I'm wrong, because now I got a question, Brandy. I thought it triggered whether or not they were an ineffective teacher or not.
So that particular column, although we provide it to CTC, is not used for assignment monitoring.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And with that, we are at the end of the Q&A. And so thanks everyone for helping out today. Great teamwork. And we will be back again next Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
Great job, guys.
Good
Thanks.
job.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, I got it from here, Gary. Good job, buddy.
Thanks.